Hello, Toon Army! What an absolutely cracking day to be discussing our beloved Newcastle United, the best team in the world. I hope you're all buzzing with excitement because we've got some fascinating goalkeeper developments happening at St. James's Park. Now then, before we dive into today's hot topics, I've got two burning questions for you magnificent supporters. What do you think about our pursuit of James Trafford and whether $25 million is enough to secure his signature from Burnley? And how do you feel about the potential reshuffling of our goalkeeping department, particularly regarding Martin Dubravka's future at the club? I'm absolutely dying to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so don't be shy. Right then, let's talk about something that's got me absolutely delighted as a Newcastle United supporter. Our brilliant number one, Nick Pope, has made it crystal clear that he's going nowhere. Even with all this talk about James Trafford potentially joining our ranks. What a fantastic attitude from our England international goalkeeper. The situation developing around James Trafford is absolutely fascinating, isn't it? Here we are, stepping up our interest in the 22-year-old Burnley keeper, who Eddie Howe has had his eye on since 2024. The lad clearly wants to come to St. James Park, having come so close to joining us 12 months ago, and honestly, who can blame him? Playing for Newcastle United is a dream for any footballer worth their salt. Now, the financials are where things get interesting. Burnley are holding out for around $40 million for Trafford, while we've reportedly tabled a $25 million offer. That's quite a gap, isn't it? But here's the thing about our club under this current ownership and management structure. When Eddie Howe identifies a target, we tend to get our man. The fact that Trafford has already agreed personal terms shows just how much he wants to be part of our incredible journey. What absolutely thrills me about this whole situation is Nick Pope's response. The man could easily have looked at this potential signing as a threat to his position, but instead, he's shown the kind of character and confidence that makes him perfect for Newcastle United. According to the reports, Pope has told the club he wants to stay and fight for his place, regardless of who comes through the door. That's the fighting spirit we love to see from our players. Pope's performances in the latter part of last season were absolutely phenomenal. Remember all those calls for Martin Dubravka to be given a chance? Well, Pope silenced every single critic with his outstanding displays between the sticks. The man was genuinely our unsung hero during those crucial final months, making saves that kept us in games and showing exactly why he's England's number one goalkeeper. The beauty of potentially having both Pope and Trafford is the depth it would give us. We're not just talking about having two quality goalkeepers here. We're talking about having two exceptional shot stoppers who can push each other to even greater heights. Competition breeds excellence, and that's exactly what we need as we prepare for what promises to be another exciting season. Think about it logically. We're going to be competing in 4 different competitions next season. The Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup, and FA Cup will all demand rotation and fresh legs. Having Pope and Trafford would give Eddie Howe the luxury of managing both keepers effectively, ensuring they both get meaningful game time while maintaining our high standards across all competitions. The tactical flexibility this would provide is enormous. Pope brings that Premier League experience and international pedigree, while Trafford offers youth, hunger, and massive potential for the future. It's not about replacing one with the other. It's about creating a goalkeeping department that can serve Newcastle United's ambitions for years to come. What really impresses me about Pope's stance is that he's not running away from competition. Lesser players might have started looking for moves elsewhere, but not our Nick. He knows his worth, he knows his quality, and he's ready to prove it again. That's the mentality of a winner, and it's exactly why he'll continue to be a crucial part of our success. The fact that Leeds United have been sniffing around Pope shows just how highly regarded he is in the football world. But thankfully, the man himself has made it clear that St. James Park is where his heart lies, and long may that continue. Right then, let's dive into the second part of this fascinating goalkeeper saga, because if there's one thing that's becoming crystal clear, it's that our goalkeeping department is about to undergo some serious changes. And honestly, as much as I love having quality depth, 6 senior goalkeepers is probably a few too many, even for the best team in the world. The elephant in the room here is Martin Dubravka, and I have to say, My heart goes out to the Slovakian. This is a goalkeeper who has served Newcastle United with distinction over the years, stepping up whenever called upon and rarely letting us down. But football is a ruthless business, and the potential arrival of James Trafford could spell the end of Dubravka's time at St. James's Park. Think about it from Dubravka's perspective for a moment. The man is 36 years old, at a stage in his career where regular football is absolutely crucial. He's not content to sit on the bench and collect his wages. He's a professional who wants to be out there competing, making saves, and contributing to his team's success. If Trafford arrives, Dubravka would drop from second choice to third choice. And let's be honest, that's not a position any self-respecting goalkeeper would accept. What makes this situation even more poignant is how well Dubravka performed when he was called upon last season. Remember when Pope was injured and there were genuine calls from sections of our support for Dubravka to remain as first choice? The man didn't just fill in, he excelled. His shot-stopping ability, his command of the penalty area, and his distribution were all absolutely top-notch. Some fans were genuinely torn about who should be our number one goalkeeper. But here's the reality of modern football. Sentiment can only take you so far. Eddie Howe has clearly identified Trafford as the future of our goalkeeping position. And when you look at the bigger picture, it makes complete sense. At 22 years old, Trafford represents not just immediate quality, but long-term stability. Pope is 33, and while he's got plenty of years left in him, having a young, hungry goalkeeper ready to step up is essential for our continued success. The financial aspect of this whole situation is absolutely fascinating, and shows just how complex modern football has become. Take Odysseas Vlachodimos, for example. We paid $20 million for him from Nottingham Forest just 12 months ago, and now he's barely getting a sniff of first-team action. In an ideal world, we'd probably look to move him on, but those pesky PSR regulations mean we can't just sell him at a massive loss without it impacting our financial position. It's quite ironic, really. Vlachodimos was brought in as competition in depth, but he's ended up being the goalkeeper we can least afford to lose from a financial standpoint, even though he's arguably contributed the least on the pitch. That's modern football economics for you. Sometimes the most logical footballing decisions aren't always the most financially viable ones. Then you've got Mark Gillespie, who's just signed a contract extension, and John Ruddy, who's in talks to do the same. These are experienced professionals who understand their roles within the squad structure. They're not expecting to be regular starters, but they provide valuable experience and mentorship to the younger keepers coming through our system. Sometimes having that kind of presence around the training ground is worth its weight in gold. But Dubravka is different. He's too good to be a third-choice goalkeeper, and he knows it. The reports about Saudi Arabian interest back in January weren't surprising. A goalkeeper of his caliber will always have options, especially in leagues where experience and reliability are highly valued. He was convinced to stay then, but circumstances have changed dramatically since. What's particularly sad about this situation is that Dubravka nearly became a Newcastle United legend. He's been with us through thick and thin, performing heroics when we needed them most. Remember some of those crucial saves he made during our more challenging periods? The man has been nothing short of excellent for our club, and it feels harsh that his Newcastle career might end not because of poor performance, but simply because of squad dynamics. From a practical standpoint, though, moving Dubravka on might be the kindest thing for all parties involved. He deserves to be playing regular football at this stage of his career, and we need to optimize our squad for the challenges ahead. If we can find him a good move to a club where he'll be appreciated and get regular game time, everyone wins. The timing of all this is quite poetic in a way. Just as we're establishing ourselves as one of Europe's elite clubs again, we're having to make the kind of difficult decisions that successful clubs face. It's not easy, but it's a sign of our progress that we're having to choose between quality goalkeepers rather than scrambling to find adequate cover. What this whole situation really demonstrates is the ambition and forward-thinking approach of our current management structure. We're not just thinking about next season, we're planning for the next 5 to 10 years. Trafford represents that future, and while it might mean some difficult goodbyes, it's exactly the kind of strategic thinking that will keep Newcastle United competing at the highest level for years to come. Well, that's all from St. James's Park for today, lads and lasses. What an absolutely fascinating time to be supporting the best team in the world. Whether it's Pope's determination to stay and fight, Trafford's potential arrival, or the difficult decisions facing players like Dubravka, one thing's for certain: there's never a dull moment following Newcastle United. Keep supporting our magnificent club, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Away the lads.